Hey, what's up? I'm back, and as I promised, it is complete. Well, it's not painted, but that's the only thing that I have not done aside from mounting it. So it's completely assembled, ready to go. I've load tested it for 30 minutes with, well, the two things that'll actually be plugged into this once it's mounted, the rework station and soldering iron. I had both of them running for 30 minutes straight. That will run as long as I pull it out of the cradle, else it'll be in a low temperature. So I pulled it out of the cradle, laid it on my workbench carefully with some heavy stuff around it so it wouldn't roll away and so the heat wouldn't hurt anything. And then I put that guy in the pan of ice just with the air blowing up, the hot air coming out of it. Fortunately, that only goes for 120 seconds, so I have to keep hitting the button on the handle. So that was annoying, having to hit that every 120 seconds for 30 straight minutes. I didn't hit it every 120 seconds exactly. There were a couple times I missed it. I was off by 30 seconds or a minute, depending on what I was doing. I might have been in the middle of something. But for the most part, I had it running the majority of the time. And the air coming out of it did not even get warm. It was just ice cold. So I'd say the thermal system is way overkill, but it's better safe than sorry. I got the FLIR out and then tried to measure the heat inside there. The problem is with this side there's a fan grill, and being metal it reflects IR, and then you could see my like my fingers from holding the handle of the FLIR. You'd see the IR signature of my hand basically reflecting off of that, and it made it look like there's heat in there, but there wasn't. So and then the other end, if you try to look in from there, the fan's blocking most of the view, and on top of that the fan itself puts out a little bit of heat. So not a big deal. Either way, there's absolutely no problems with heat, so that's pretty awesome. Just need to paint it black, and then it'll be nice and stealthy. I can mount it underneath and I'll be good to go. Just like I said, I used the female USB jack, and then I have it run over here where I'm temporarily testing it. Let's see. Green and white are the signal wires, red's 12 volts, black's common ground for the solid state relays and for the fan. So that's how I have it temporarily hooked up. Obviously that'll probably be permanently soldered into the project. I do have a standard female USB jack. The blade shaped one is at B, or is that A? I get them mixed up. Either way, there's really not room on the prototyping area on that for me to hook it up. Excuse me. So I think I'm just gonna hook the wires in and just solder them directly to that. I think I'd like it to be modular, but I don't have any connectors on hand that would make sense for that. So anyways, I can't think of anything else. Really, I just need to paint it and then mount it tomorrow, and then that's going to be the next big project. And honestly, I suck at this type of thing. The code for me is super easy. The electronics super easy. Coming up with the design for where everything goes in, that's hard for me. I suck at that. And I know practice makes perfect, so I'm going to continue doing a bunch of projects. But what would have helped probably is if I would have sketched this up in SketchUp, and then I would have had more exact measurements. This, I kind of winged it. You know, I cut a couple 2x4s and then kind of spaced them apart with the outlets just kind of dangling across them, and then got tape measure and measured how far across it is, went out and then cut the top and bottom strips, and then measured again to get the side panels, and then added a couple inches, and then went out and cut that piece. So I kind of did it, I kind of winged it as I went, and I mean, it turned out okay. You know, I didn't do any exact measurements for where the fasteners go. I just kind of, that looks about right. Drill, 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 drill. It works, but Now, that's going to be interesting because there's a ton of wiring I need to hide, and I'm just not sure how or where I'm going to mount that thing. But the majority of it's wiring that can be tidied, so I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. One thing I'll suggest, if anyone makes anything like this, like basically outlets and some solid state relays, you're switching outlets on or off. If you're not using like the really small form factor ones that you could mount inside of a power strip, if you're doing something big like this where you have heat sinks and you need a big box, I very highly recommend mounting your solid state relays not to the bottom like I did, but to the top. That way the terminals are facing down as well as the two outlets. So all the terminals are facing down, you can just flip it over, run the wires across wherever they need to go, and then it's one solid modular piece. You just mount it to the base whenever you're done, and then you're good to go. I, since two pieces are mounted at the bottom, two were mounted at the top, had to leave some slack in the wire so I could actually open the thing and close it. And it made it a huge pain. It would have been so much quicker and easier had I mounted the solid state relays to the top. But I was already in too deep and didn't want to go out and then have to recut wood, and because I just really want this project to be over with. I hate when projects go on this long because I feel like I start losing interest and I just need to get it over with. But anyways, it's turned out great. I'm actually happy with how it turned out. So yeah, if you try this, make sure you mount everything on the same side, on the same surface, so that all the terminals are right next to each other. You just run your wiring and then that's done. It's a pain when you do wiring on multiple surfaces, because then you have to have enough wiring that it can be disassembled, and then you have to assemble it after you have the wiring done, because obviously you can't wire it once everything's all sealed up. So that makes it tricky and probably a little more dangerous, because the solid core wire doesn't like to bend. So when you put the lid on, the wire has to go somewhere. I intentionally made bends in the wire to where it would flex in the directions I wanted. So I kind of strategically planned that, but man, it's just a pain to have to deal with that. So that's my advice if you do anything like this. But or you can go the easy method and just buy one of those, what they call them, power tail switch things. It's basically looks like a laptop power brick, and then but really what it is just like a solid state relay, and then it's got output. It's got like screw terminals where you can hook a microcontroller up to it to switch it on or off, and that's all it is, and it's ready to go. It's got a wall plug on one end and an outlet on the other end, and that's it. So if you want to go easy and you just need to control one thing, buy that and be done. But if you need to switch something higher current, like those two guys, which I just noticed have already switched themselves off, you might want to go for something with some heat sinks just to be safe, even though I honestly think that I didn't need the heat sinks, but better safe than sorry, right? I don't want to get a call while I'm at work, fire department saying my house burned down. So I think that's it. Tomorrow I'm gonna get this out to the garage. Unfortunately, it's winter in the Midwest and the garage is like 30 degrees, 40 degrees, something like that. So I need to get a couple space heaters out there, get it up to a painting appropriate temperature. Not for me, I don't care. I just put on a jacket and I'm good, but paint doesn't dry when it's cold, and it probably doesn't bond as well when it's cold too. So I need to get the temperature probably up to 50 or 60 at least. That's probably a little colder than it should be, but like I said, I don't really care. This isn't for aesthetics. This is just to make it less conspicuous, so I can kind of mount it under the workbench and just have it out of sight. So I'm gonna work on that. If I have time, I'll try to start to mount the rest of that crap. It would be nice to get it all done tomorrow. Then my workbench would be completely open and I can start working on some other projects. And I do plan on doing some tutorial videos too. Some on coding, some on setting up a web server, some on like beginners electronics videos. I don't know. I have a lot of ideas, a lot of tutorials and stuff I want to do to try to give back to the community, since I've relied heavily on the community to get myself back into electronics. So yeah, good times. I will hopefully see you in a video tomorrow. Later.